And then let me see if I can go live on YouTube, if this is going to work. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, we should be. It's just setting up.
Says it's streaming live on YouTube.
So there we are. That should be us, I believe. So the question is where the technical stuff starts.
Magic question.
So who's the most technical person in the room? Where's John Corey when you need him?
Yeah. Looks like it's all recording fine there, David. It was on YouTube.
Yeah, but I am not now getting my slides. I am not. If I stop share, see what happens there. There we go. This should be it now. Cool. Okay, welcome everyone to the broadcast today. We are live on YouTube, which we used to do quite a lot and just hadn't for the last couple of weeks. So it was just getting all the technical stuff done. So we are recording, we are live on YouTube, and we are ready to go. So welcome everyone and good morning once again to our weekly broadcast. Delighted you could join us once again. This is a 30-minute weekly broadcast that we have done live now for goodness, over 2 years now. We started back in March as COVID started to hit and people were stuck in their houses. And it's evolved into a lot of people have this in their weekly calendar. They simply tune in, maybe as they're on their tea break or maybe on a train heading to a meeting, and they tune in just for a bit of an update on what's happening in the world of property, a little bit about property crowdfunding, and a number of people who are fundraisers, property developers, investors, kind of make this a date, if you like. And then it's recorded on YouTube, and a whole bunch of other people will go on YouTube and watch the recording. So first of all, welcome Alex, our special guest today. Great to have you on again. How are you?
Yeah, very good, David. Great to see you and Dal as always. Hope you guys are well.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And Mr. Dal Ray, our resident investor portfolio manager with Leo Crowdfunding. How are you this morning?
Very well. Hello, everyone.
Brilliant. So for those that don't happen to know me, my name is David Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leo Crowdfunding. We're an equity crowdfunding property platform. And we normally have my resident co-host, John Corey from Property Fortress. He and I normally do this together. He is missing today, which I'll explain in a minute. But Dal, good to have you back on as my wingman today, looking after questions and adding value to the topics we discuss. So before I forget, if you do have any questions on the topics today, then make sure you put it into the Q&A. We don't use the chat box. So stick it in the Q&A. Dal keeps an eye on that, and then at the right time we can put that to Alex. So anything new? Obviously, Dal, I've been sort of offline for the last couple of days on a live boot camp John and I are doing. So anything new and strange in your world in London?
Apart from Boris Johnson resigning recently, so
has he resigned this morning?
He has indeed. Yes. So you've heard it here live from us. But Bank of England raising rates, which is always nice recently. But in terms of Leo crowdfunding, very busy. We're just working on Waits House currently. So we're just waiting on kind of the finalizing shareholder agreements. Funds are being sent from investors. So we're hoping to draw down on the project by early next week, possibly even tomorrow. So that's going well. We've got a couple of other raises in the pipeline. Also Allbarn, which is a private raise from Newman Rose. So we're working with investors on that as well. So a lot going on.
Good to hear you're busy in my absence. So normally at this point, we do a bit of a market update, and then we put questions to John Corey. And John, for our regular attendees, knows someone with a wealth of knowledge and experience in property structuring, property investment, and particularly in the world of compliance. And he gets asked a question. He doesn't get to see the questions in advance. So he literally on the spot gets asked a question and usually shares some educational golden nuggets with the attendees. So we'll have to hold this one to next week, Dal. Now,
David, do you mind if I maybe jump in on that one? It's just I've just seen that, but I don't mind giving a little 1 minute piece from my side.
Certainly, yes. In fact, yes, that's absolutely fine. And
So
that'll put John under pressure for next week to come up with something different and better than what you. So I'm all on for putting John under pressure, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not John Corey, by the way. I'm not as handsome as John. I'm not the silver fox yet, but it is an interesting system. Is the planning system broken? I'm going to categorically say yes. You know, I'm a developer, and so I'm very much in the thick of this. And I speak to a lot of other developers who feel the pain. You know, planning usually it was supposed to be statutory 3 months. We all know it's going to take a bit longer, potentially 6 months, but some applications now are taking 12 to 18 months to come through, which, you know, isn't good for any part of the system, right? Because that slows everything down. It's the bottleneck that's right in there. And I was reading a report by Savills that, you know, that's also contributing to the fact that, you know, build costs are increasing because the pressure on land prices increase. At some point, if we don't remove that blockage and these land prices keep on increasing, developments don't get built. What does that mean? Well, we've got an undersupply of housing. We all know that the 300,000 target by the UK government for affordable homes and general homes, we're nowhere near that. You're not even, we're not even 67% there. So if you look at it a little bit more at a granular level, the big issue is under-resourcing of these local authorities. And so they just don't have skilled staff. And that's because of the complexity of what a planning application takes. And what we found, especially over COVID, and even now, you know, a lot of these guys who are skilled, and rather than being in the public sector, they end up going to the private sector where there's a lot more cash, right? Or setting up their own planning consultancy. So there's a lot of resource gap there, and that's only going to get compounded, I think, with inflation and the cost of living increase when people want to move for better opportunities. So overall, I think a simplification of the planning system would mean that you're not needing as many skilled, but obviously we need to pay these guys and reward them. You know, we do that for all other parts of public sector, so why not look at this? And then hopefully that would then start reducing the bottleneck and moving things forward.
I don't think anyone's going to disagree with the fact that it's broken. Have you any strong opinions onto exactly why? Is it just a staffing issue? Is it a policy issue? What would you say is the reason it's so broken currently?
I think it's mainly down to the under-resourcing. Every local authority I speak to is under-resourced. You're getting local plan authorities combining together so that you can kind of bring that skill set together. Pay essentially is a big part of that. Policy, yes, we brought all of these new class rights in, updated PD, but to be honest, we just caused more complexity issues with that. And it didn't quite solve the problem that we were hoping for, or creating this new pipeline of opportunities. And this is not just me speaking, this is speaking to a lot of other developers as well.
And Dal, from our engagement with fundraisers, obviously planning is one of the type of raises we do on the platform. We can raise funds from our investor base to cover the cost of planning. But with this uncertainty, with the broken system, it just makes it a little bit more complicated, Dal, in terms of investor confidence in investing in that type of deal. And you're looking at fundraisers who really understand planning and understand the right contacts and I suppose the right teams. Yeah.
I mean, feedback that I'm getting from anyone that's looking to do a planning application or planning option agreement, that they understand the delays. I mean, I read somewhere, the highest recorded planning applications went through in 2021. And of course, there's a backlog due to the virus. It seems like, UK is hot with home improvements during 2021, obviously with the time and funding, etc., excluding. So yeah, I do get some feedback. So planning lane applications, I think a lot of them are now putting that into their contingency. Being realistic, where it would be 3 months, depending on the type of planning, you're probably looking, 50% of applications are delayed in the UK. So, you got to definitely account for that.
Yeah. Okay, so keen to hear anyone's comments. If you stick it in the Q&A for us, I know I can see a number of people on the broadcast today with good professional experience in the world of property. So if you have any observations, any sort of anecdotal stories, please fire it into the Q&A, and Dal can make that comment to everyone's benefit. So yes, Alex, thanks much for that. I can sort of see an Ask Alex maybe happening on this broadcast, putting even more pressure on John.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. I think I'll get a couple of sharp messages from John there. So
no problem. Okay, so that's I was going to say, so John's not here today, as I indicated. However, I do know exactly where he is, and I also know exactly what he's looking at currently. And this is it. This is John has opened up his life over in the East Coast of America to the normal attendees here on the broadcast, and this is his setup in his basement. So obviously he's in the East Coast of America, so at this time of the morning, it's not far off the middle of the night over there, but he gets up early. I'm assuming it's soundproof, so he doesn't wake the rest of the house. But we're doing a current 3-day boot camp with a number of property developers. So this is John's view. Quite a cool setup. Although Dal, Josh, and Brenda did wonder about the health and safety with all the wires on the desk there.
Yeah, we did.
I'm not sure. One of our attendees on the bootcamp is a guy, Adam Howarth, who is known to some of us because he's been on the broadcast here. He was on a few months ago talking about health and safety. So when I go back into the broadcast or the bootcamp, I'll be asking Adam for his thoughts on John's health and safety around this. But as I say, we are currently doing this bootcamp, and it was obviously talked about for a few weeks. We had a couple of people on, but last broadcast who had been through the previous one. And yeah, it's just really good to interact with different developers with different experiences, different visions, and seeking to help them by steering the right direction on compliance. And there's great value even just in the different attendees talking among themselves and sharing their knowledge. So it's a really good fun. It's intense, 3 days, but really good value. So just a wee sort of a free giveaway to everyone. If you haven't already, if you go to that link, you can get your 6 steps to raising funds as a property developer. You click the download button, and then when you go on the next page at the top, you're able to download this sort of short workbook on the 6 steps. If you haven't done that already, you can do that and access that and enjoy it. So let's get on with this week's topic: private raises through crowdfunding. Private raises through crowdfunding. Delighted to have Alex Impey back on. So Alex, perhaps first of all, maybe a bit about your background. What were you before getting involved in property up until now with CoCity, please?
Yeah, no, thanks very much. So welcome everyone. I've been on here a few times now. So, but if you haven't heard from me before, my name's Alex. I'm the founder of CoCity. I'll discuss a little bit more about what CoCity is and what we're doing shortly. But my background, I'm a chartered mechanical engineer, and I spent 10 years in industry right across the globe in some of the harshest locations, basically putting together really resilient infrastructure across different sectors. So from the petrochemical into civil, into mechanical, into residential, looking at all different areas and building that infrastructure from the start of the design life cycle. So looking at concepts into the design, through to construction, into operation, and also decommissioning. So full life cycle. And I looked at all parts of that. I managed that, project managed, project engineered, and from that got a really wealth of experience of how to run large scale projects. The last project I did on a corporate side was £500 million project value, And that was a really interesting JV with the Iraqi government. From there, I then built CoCity, went through a various number of iterations. And yeah, really delighted to be here to talk to you a little bit about private raises and how you go around doing that, complying.
Yeah, brilliant. So I'll cover the what is a private raise, and then we'll move into some details on your current private raise. That's the best way of explaining to people as to what it is that you're actually doing, and then why you're doing it this way. But when we say private raises, what we simply mean is that the raise that Alex is doing currently is not viewable to the general public or even the public who land on our platform. So if you go to our homepage currently, you see all we call them the thumbnails, and you can scroll down and see the projects that have been completed, the case studies, the ones that are coming soon. And normally, if we have a raise, then you can access the details from that homepage. Now, a private raise means that it's behind the curtain, it's private, and we'll discuss with Alex in a minute as to why he's went that route. But that's really what we mean by a private raise. So you could use the word exclusive raise just as easy. It just means that it's this only select people have access to the raise, not the general public. So that's really the process of onboarding is the same. The compliance, regulatory scrutiny, the approvals for financial promotions, all of that's the same, nothing any different. It just means the fundraiser controls who sees his raise or her raise. And again, we'll get into why that is. So I think, first of all, if you want to explain the CoCity and what is the raise that you're actually doing.
Yeah, sure. So I think what's really key is CoCity, we're an SME developer. And what we do is we focus on repurposing how people live, work and play. That's our big mission, right? That's what drives us and is at the core of our kind of being. But if you look at that at a little bit of a granular level, it's all about how we take failing real estate, and that could be land, it could be brownfield, it could be greenfield, it could be existing buildings, and how do we turn them into what we've created, which is called community-centered flexible living. And what I mean by that is low carbon, so taking this on a buildings and failing real estate on a low carbon journey and turning them into community-centered live, work, play experiences where you've got basically a lifestyle in a one space, whether that's a building, whether that's a development, but it's all under one roof. And there's huge amounts of benefit from obviously your cost of living decrease because you've got everything in one space, to your carbon footprint. But on top of that, you've got your health and wellness opportunities in there. You've got work opportunities, education opportunities. And we address all those aspects that a life is and living's all about. And we really put that into one space. That's what we're out to achieve. And that's kind of our mission. And that's what CoCity was built for, David.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of the team, when we did a project webinar for you a few weeks ago, of all the project webinars that I've done probably in the last 3 years with Leo Crowdfunding, I don't think I'd ever had as many kind of high level experienced property people on one webinar. So no, we don't have time to go into sort of every single member of your team, but you put together a very, very high powered team. Karen was on that call. I think Pete was on that call. Even maybe just like, for instance, Karen, who knows a key part of your team. I mean, you want to just give a very brief indication as her background, and then just how did you put this team together? I find that curious.
Yeah, so I think you hit the nail on the head, right? You can't do these things, with big ambitions. We needed the right skill sets, and I was I don't have all those skills, and I'm never going to have all those skills. But my job is then, as the conductor, is to find the people who can and let them do the job. And so, the first key piece was bringing Karen on board. Karen's got 25 years experience in the real estate industry right across the UK, has done 3-4 billion pound projects with Crossrail, with HS2. She's built cities around Manchester Airport with 7 or 8 local authorities, all in large JVs, brought in investor monies from all over the world. She did big projects in Scotland. Obviously, we've got quite a big base in Scotland and England as well. And she brings a different mindset to the business, right? She's all about execution, delivery. That's really apparent on her CV. Philip as well, you know, we knew that if we're going to set this off in the right direction, we needed to be compliant and look at the real estate sector with eyes wide open. And Philip worked for the Edmund de Rothschild Group, which is £1 billion plus fund that works in PRS, and he was their CFO. You know, so that was a real coup to get Philip on board to help steady the ship and financially put us in the right position as we grow and we scale up. Pete is very much in the business side. He's quite a well-known community, brings a lot from partnerships, community sense, building businesses, strategic marketing, and those are those elements that kind of fit in between and kind of really help the business grow. And most recently, we brought on Michael as well, who's got, you know, 10 years plus on the investment and analyst side. Because that was something we were lacking, was we were getting lots of deals, but we couldn't get through them to be able to bring things, you know, we had a great pipeline, but we need to bring the pipeline to fruition and execution. And he's bringing that on board to support us with that piece. I think the final piece, just to add in there, is, you know, you've got this is a co-founding team, you know, the really executive piece, but we work by standing on the shoulders of giants. So we work with ambassadors and NEDs who've got specific sector knowledge. We're very much on the community side, community-centered flexible living. That's what our product is. So it's how do you create flexibility, mixed tenure living, mixed use, creating that space for residents to thrive and give to value. We then pick the right people to support on that, whether that's from a food and beverage, the health, leisure and well-being, the community, working with local authorities. We've got a whole team and partnerships around us that we can plug and play into each development so we can kind of work together and give it the best opportunities.
Okay. So you've already covered a little bit about the concept, if you like, of CoCity, this live, play, work. And I think what I found interesting was that you have a vision that is certainly potentially changing as to how people live, play, and work. And, you know, people have visions, but then you got to try and execute the vision. But what was it that gave you this vision?
Yeah, so I mean, I tell a story, and I'm going to keep this to a condensed version, but I've been through every category of tenureship known to humans, and you can see this on the left-hand side, from social housing, as my mum raised me as a single child, into co-living through student to rental and then home ownership. And it was only really when I'd been through everything and got a few more grey hairs, I realised the importance of each tenureship. And I had some terrible experiences. The last one being home ownership, where, you know, there was this juxtaposition of forced gentrification, which doesn't work. And there was a lot of animosity between different different tenures of residency. And I was thinking there's got to be a better way where we can bring people together, rather force them into a specific tenure, saying you have to own a home, you should aspire to own a home. Let people choose. We wanted to create a platform where people could then flex between different tenures as they decided. But not only that, why not then be able to flex on the workspace that you've got? You know, COVID has very much accelerated things in terms of the hybrid working, but, you know, not everyone's an entrepreneur and wants to go into a WeWork space, you know, and have all the glitzy lifestyle. People just want to get out of their home and work for their business, but in a more kind of business oriented context. You could be an entrepreneur, you could be blue collar worker, white collar worker. We wanted to create space for people to choose as and when they're needed. But more importantly, I think the socialization impact is huge. And I think we all understand that loneliness is the true epidemic. You know, there's a recent survey for Generation X and Y, so 18 to 42. And 60% of them during the last 2 years have had some form of anxiety, depression, or loneliness, issue. And that speaks volumes, right? And it's not just that age group, it's beyond. So we need that socialization. So we wanted to create the space, but not just tell people, hey, you're going to have a yoga class today, you're going to do your hip paint, and let the residents decide what they want in their ecosystem. So this is very resident driven, creating value.
Yeah, no, I like that idea of choice and giving people the choice. So this idea of live, play, work, I think it's a brilliant concept, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it's received. And your project is very much about CoCity as a top co. And you've got a series of SPVs that have individual projects in those SPVs. you're offering equity in the top co. So it's not an investment into an SPV with an asset per se. It's a top co that obviously owns multiple SPVs with multiple assets. These are two. You want to just very quickly cover these two, and then we'll get back talking about the private raises. These are two current projects that you have within the company structure.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, we're looking at the development business in the raise sense. You know, that's looking at everything that we're doing, developing, creating these spaces to then go and facilitate and operate. But yeah, I think the two, you know, and what I was always told is the way you judge a development company is one by its team and two by its pipeline, those that are live, but more importantly, what's coming in to play. And we own right now two live projects. One in Aberdeen and one in Guildford. We call ourselves a national company. I think we can just get away with that. And yeah, the Aberdeen one, we've got a range of products which work on social mobility, and it's like depends on what people really need. And we've got a hub, a spoke, and a village. I won't go into them in detail, but we've got two great examples here. The one in Aberdeen, it's a true community-centered flexible living product where we've got the commercial, we've got gyms, we've got the co-working serviced office space, and we've got opportunities for residents to create their own commercial. There's a cafe and bar, and then a mix of social homes, for sale homes, co-living and rental. And this is all operated within that community spirit and vibe. And then we've got Guildford. We're just going through the strategy right now. So but we're looking to start building out this year. We're just finalising bits and pieces on that. But again, it's a great opportunity right in the centre of Guildford. It's just a fantastic location and a fantastic project to work on.
Brilliant. Okay. So as this is currently a view deal raise, and will be live probably for investment next week. Just remind everyone that this is an investment into this. Capital is at risk, return is not guaranteed, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Just keeping that compliance caveat there. So I've explained what a private deal is. So why did you choose to bring this as a private deal, Alex? What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, so I think you've already mentioned this. So the whole reason why you guys are doing a boot camp, right, for developers, it's keeping compliant, and the FCA have got strict rules on debt and equity, and what that looks like. But equity is obviously very hot in the FCA eyes, and we're doing an equity raise, even though it's not projects in a business, it's the same category, right? And so we wanted to do that in a compliant manner, but we didn't want to have to do all of that ourselves. You know, just fundraising, speaking to investors, and then running a business, that takes up a hell of a lot of time. So we wanted to leverage the best and bring, let you guys do what you guys do best at, and help us through that. So it's the investor management piece, it's the compliance piece, and the education piece, right? Yeah,
and it's been good working with you on the project webinars. I know in one of the webinars you had people from I think about 6 different European countries actually had tuned in to your project webinar, and these were obviously in the main your contacts. So you're able to, if you like, engage with your investor base. And when you look at the team that you have, and no doubt the contacts they have, I mean, it's probably quite amazing black books that each of you have, but you're able to access those people and in a compliant way, channel them to a project webinar where the slides have all been financially promotions approved. You can engage with them, you can offer them the investment opportunity, all in a compliant way. And that must, I know it helps streamline your sort of working week, where that bit's all taken care of, and you're able to promote the deal that way.
Yeah, I think as well, because this is a very limited, it's like we said, it's that exclusive piece. We wanted to just bring a select few into this opportunity, a lot of our own investors, and then bring in a select few from yourself. We wanted a platform where we could do that and direct people to, and again, to be able to take control of that and bring all of those through the journey.
So just remind anyone, if you have any questions for Alex or any questions on private raises, there's a few minutes left. You can get it in now, and we can ask them. So Dal, any comments on private raises? I know you obviously then deal with the investors that are brought, and then obviously they're onboarded and able to invest in the deals. But any comments on private raises or any questions that have arrived in?
Some questions I've got actually for Alex. So what's the future pipeline for CoCity? Obviously, we've got the 2 projects there, but what's the vision, I guess?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I remember I made that statement, you're only as good as your team and your future pipeline, right? I didn't even talk about that, so thanks, Dal. So yes, we've got around 300 million pounds in the pipeline right now through various projects right across the UK. We just spent a lot of time visiting the Scottish leaders and Scottish government up in Glasgow, so speaking directly to the leaders about how we can bring our model to them and to their city, this low carbon, community centred live, work, play experience. And so we're looking now opportunities in Dundee, in Stirling, in Glasgow. But on top of that, we're also speaking directly to local authorities. That's very much where we're niching, because what we work with plays perfectly into the hands of what local authorities are needing to do and their strategies to get towards net zero, but be more community inclusive. So we've got 29 warm contacts. We're on a roadshow, me and the team, and the opportunities are from Peterborough through to Kingston. We're in Slough as well, and then we're also looking in Leeds. We're actually off to the local authority in Leeds and Darlington next week to speak directly to the leaders in there to find out what assets have they got and how can we help them. So 300 million pounds. Our target is to bring another two properties into the pipeline this year, and yeah, really looking forward to doing that.
Don't forget Belfast. Don't forget Belfast, yes. Alex.
No. There's a bigger picture to play. That's a good point. There's 16 cities we're wanting to build in. Belfast is one of them, and that'll be coming in the next few years, David. Don't worry.
I just for everyone's benefit, every time I talk to Alex, I'm pushing him. Get one of these in Belfast, please. So there we are. Anything else, Dal?
Yes. How did you build such an experienced team around you?
Yeah, really good. So it was a mixture of using people around you, right? So I wasn't scared to use external recruiters to really focus in on the right person and the right skill set. But to be honest, that doesn't bring a person, like Karen and Philip and Pete. They don't come just because a recruiter asks them to. They come because of the vision. And I think that's what really sings to everyone, right? We're trying to repurpose how people live, work, and play. And we're taking our partners who've got this green, clean technology, this low carbon transition, and then wrapping it into this community, this community-centered flexible living product. And we have all of the partners put in place. We've been doing this for the last 6 months to make sure we had the right operational model and the right brand to then build. And so they can see the future, right? And what this can do, not just from making money, because obviously that's important, but more importantly, how do we give back and sustain and build community as well as what we're doing in the UK and beyond?
Yeah, brilliant.
Maybe one last one, Dal, if you have, just pick maybe one.
I think most of them are answered now. Thank you.
That's done. Okay. Well, I have one I'm going to finish on then. One of our attendees at the bootcamp had asked a question about family offices. I know, Alex, we've had that conversation because part of your reach out, obviously you're going to need larger and larger sums. And I know you have had a little bit of engagement with family offices, so just even sort of high level. So first of all, how did you source the family office? And then what was that kind of conversation like, and how open were they to being part of a project like this?
Yeah, so it's a really good point, and this is just as a tip for anyone looking, how do I get funding for project deals? Doesn't necessarily need to be this type, but just property deals. It's you can go the direct route and just knock on doors of family offices, but that's like a cold call technique, and family offices operate in a certain way. So what you want is an introduction into there. And if you don't know someone, go and find someone. And typically that will be a broker. So, if you need opportunities, come and ask me. I've got one or two, but those brokers then will work on your behalf. They've got a reputation. They can sit down, really understand your story, your pitch deck, whatever you're trying to do, and then they can sell that. What you want, though, is not just selling a vision. You need concrete projects to be able to demonstrate. So go with a project that is under control, go with your vision, and then let them sell that for you, and then you follow up with the roadshow. That's what we did. We're working through the family offices now. We've got 2-3 that are really interested to work with us on the continuation of the next projects, and that's what you do. Just keep working forward and keep building.
Brilliant. And the last then point on the slide, when will this particular raise be available? And you've been willing to let anyone who's on this broadcast access the investment opportunity. And if they so wish to invest, obviously they're more than welcome. So along the top is the URL that will take you to the landing page, where if you are registered with the platform, you can then download the equity offer document. Now this is currently view deal. You can see a bit of text under the image there. The current document that's there, obviously we started this a number of months ago, Alex, so things have moved on in your business. You're updating some of the financials and updating some of the things that have happened. So therefore, when it goes live, there will actually be an updated version of the document. So just making that clear to anyone who downloads what's there currently. But there is the link, leocrowdfunding.com/property/details/3909, and you'll be able to access this. So when it'll be available, I think we're looking at next Tuesday, Wednesday, Alex, is it?
Yeah, I think early next week. We're targeting Monday or Tuesday. But I think if it's possible for yourself and Dal, maybe those who are on the call or watching and listening, we can send out the link and provide a bit more info. We've done a lot of webinars already, so you can listen to me and the team. And I'm also happy to take, both myself and Dal, happy to take direct questions and calls on that.
Yeah.
Yes, and the forum, of course, as well. There's the live forum there that people can go on and leave questions on the forum, which Dal looks at every day and feeds back to Alex to answer any questions that are required. And yeah, we can send out recordings of the previous project webinars. So listen, Alex, thank you very much for coming on there. Hopefully that's provided a bit of understanding to private raises. And I thought it was good to show a tangible private raise, so people are able to see your project. And I think that gives a better context as to why you went the private raise route. It lets you control the investors that you're showing it to. It's not just out sort of spreading far and wide. You obviously, there's a lot of sensitive commercial information in some of the due diligence that you share with the potential investors. So you obviously want to keep that in a controlled environment. And then the whole investor relations, that Dal's able to step in and assist you with the onboarding and the KYC and the AML of your investors. And that management is all done by the platform. So I think the two big benefits of private raises. So Alex, thank you very much for once again joining us. Always appreciate that.
Perfect.
And so just to finish off then, next week, we haven't done this now for a while, but the importance of social housing, we're going to refocus on that in difficult times. And Dal, this is something that I know a lot of people asked you about, even from the investor side. A lot of investors, or an increasing number of investors, seem keen on investing in projects that have a social housing element to it.
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of many of our investors have a social consciousness. So looking forward to this. It should be certainly very good and educational for our investors.
Yeah, and we should have John back next week, and we'll deep dive into this topic with a couple of guests. So look out for the weekly update that comes out on a Wednesday, and you'll know who the guests are, and that's what we'll do next week. So that remains me just to thank everyone for today. There are the contact details for the platform and myself, and you're more than welcome to reach out to us with any questions. So listen, thanks everyone for today. Again, Alex, massive thanks from you, and take care everyone, and we'll look forward to another period of uncertainty in UK politics as we look for another prime minister. So no doubt John will have an opinion on that next week. John likes his politics, so tune in next week for John's opinion on UK politics. All the best, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.